Welcome to the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast series, where we address challenges and ideas for early stage and entrepreneurial business leaders. Your host today is Dave Coffaro, Interim President and CEO of the Greater Irvine Chamber.
Hello, folks, and welcome to our podcast from the Greater Irvine Chamber of Commerce. And I love airports. I kind of love everything about airplanes and the idea that they're a way that we connect to the whole world. It's such an exciting thing to step on a plane, get to a different place, and then do something. For me, air travel is really a pillar of economic vitality and community. And right here in our community, and at a stone's throw distance from the Greater Irvine Chamber offices, we have what was originally known as Eddie Martin Airport. So it started out as a private landing strip that was built by an aviation pioneer whose name was Eddie Martin, and it was Irvine Company land. 1923, so a little over 100 years ago, he founded a flying school and what became known as Martin Aviation, which is one of the oldest aviation companies in the United States. In 1939, Eddie Martin Airport became Orange County Airport. Then during the Second World War and in the early 40s, the airport was used for military purposes. But after that, the first commercial carrier, this is my research, was a company called Bonanza Airlines, and they started their service in 1952. So from there, the airport literally took off. Today, the airport that we know as John Wayne Airport is home to nearly 500 general aviation aircraft. And that represents about 2/3 of the total operation at John Wayne Airport. The airport today covers 510 acres, and it operates 2 runways. So if you've ever flown in or out of, you know that there is a shorter runway. It's a 2,900-foot runway. And then there's the larger one, about a 5,700-foot runway. But it's still one of the shortest commercial runways in North America. But both of those have a significant impact on our community because today our airport serves more than 11 million passengers annually. So it is a very active airport. So with that background, today I'm joined by the leader of John Wayne Airport, Airport Director Charlene Reynolds. So Charlene, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Very happy to be here today.
So your background is a little different than a lot of people that are in the role of airport director elsewhere. And so you've come from a background that's not operations. A lot of folks in that role come from an operations background. How does your business background help you in leading John Wayne Airport?
So thank you for the question, Dave. And I will say first and foremost, I am only one of about 25 females that actually run commercial airports in the United States. So I have a different lens for how airports should be operated. And that's also combined with my business experience. So I have a bachelor's in management and an MBA. A lot of my peers have either a military background or a degree in aviation. And airports are self-sustaining business enterprises. Some of your listeners may not be aware of when the federal government established the national airport system, there was a law that was passed that says only those who utilize aviation shall pay for aviation. So what does that mean? That means that we receive absolutely zero tax dollars. We receive no funding from the county, and we are truly a self-sustaining business enterprise. We make our money from the landing and takeoff, from the commercial airlines, from our parking revenues, from our concessions program. So having a business background helps me really manage the business of aviation, and that goes from technology to our concessions program, understanding environmental implications of the business. And so I have a well-rounded perspective of how to run the airport as a business. And that's much, much different than many of my colleagues.
So that federal framework is something that I think a lot of us are not aware of, but that an airport is truly a business. And so
Correct.
that's such an interesting context as we think about John Wayne and think about the activities and what happens and so forth. I know that when you came into your role a couple of years ago, you saw John Wayne through a different lens. Would you share some of your observations and how those early impressions have shaped your priorities?
Oh, absolutely. I came in for my interview to meet with the board of supervisors, and I walked through the airport, had done my research, had a vision of what I thought in my mind the airport would actually look like when I arrived, and it was much different than my original perception. What I was looking for, sand, sea, sun, all those things that make Orange County great. I was looking for that feel within the airport. So I walked through the airport, took a look at all the concessions. They really give me a sense of the local community and what I could expect to see as I navigated through um, the, the county. I did not see that. I walked through all the restrooms to see how clean they were. I went into the concessions program to see what offerings they had that said Orange County. And that gave me a sense of we needed really to instill a sense of place within the airport. And so one of my priorities was how do we go about doing that? And that's revamping our concessions program and adding more local restaurants and retail. Just a couple months ago, the Board of Supervisors did approve a new concessions program. So we'll see some greats like Wahoo's, Mama's. There's a small local business, Tacos La Pina, that will be joining the airport, which all will give you a taste and a flavor of Orange County. We're also installing a new children's play area that has landscapes indicative of Orange County. We're upgrading our restrooms, and it'll have that Orange County flair. And so putting those little touches in the airport proper, so when either you're coming and or you're leaving the airport, you truly know that you're in Orange County.
That's such a great approach because, I mean, if we're honest about it, for a long time, you'd walk into the airport and not really know where you were because it just didn't say that. In fact, my recollection is we would see things that were branded for LA or Hollywood or things like that, which is wonderful, but that's not here.
That is correct. And that was one of my first challenges trying to buy a t-shirt to say Orange County to give to a family member. And walking through the airport, I couldn't find anything to give as a gift to my family member from my airport. And I said, well, I need to change that. And so having conversations with the concessionaires, and in my comment about that, I had participated in this article and it went viral. So I had all the CEOs from the concessionaires call me and tell me we're going to change that immediately. And now the airport does have wonderful T-shirts and takeaways that you can purchase that basically say Orange County. So I was very, very happy. Um, just to, that's just one little thing that I could add as part of a larger effort.
So your fingerprints are all over a bunch of things going on in the airport. For any of our listeners that have been through the airport recently, you see construction going on, you see facades for new retailers, you see just a whole lot of things in process. So what are you mentioned your one priority around concessions and that element. What are some of your other top priorities as you think about where we are and where you want the airport to be?
And so the airport is embarking on a major capital improvement program. came into the airport and found out a lot of the infrastructure is original to Terminal A and B. And so we will be working on replacing our elevators, our escalators. If you're currently disappointed about the time it takes to get your luggage, we're embarking on installing a brand new baggage handling system. We're updating our restrooms. And so when I talk to staff, I want them to be guest centric, really focusing on the guest experience within the airport. And so by upgrading and investing in our facilities, we're already easy to access, but it's that 360 view. So updating our infrastructure, providing new concessions, new children's play area, elevators, escalators speak to the new paradigm shift within the aviation space of being guest centric.
And that's something that I'm sure a lot of listeners don't really associate with an airport, is being guest centric. In many cases, it just feels like it's utilitarian, not guest oriented. But you're changing that. You've changed that paradigm.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a wonderful public affairs team, and we're putting on events within the airport. Just a few weeks ago, we had May the 4th be with you. So anyone who is a Star Wars fan, we had R2D2. We had some characters, and it was phenomenal just to walk through the airport to see kids, young and old, get excited about having the opportunity to take a picture with R2D2. We do things for Mother's Day. We have our music program. And so my overall goal is when you come into the airport that it's an experience, and that goes to being guest-centric.
Mm-hmm. I think that message resonates with a lot of our listeners because they're business people. And when you can make that experience a really great experience for business people who are navigating the airport, it just reinforces why they want to do business with your airport versus driving north or south or east to one of the alternatives. So it says a lot about the way you want to engage with your guests.
Yes.
So airports tend to be very strategic elements of the economy. When you look ahead over the next 5, 10, 20 years and beyond, what are some of the things on your mind when it comes to strategic areas of focus for John Wayne?
And so it's an exciting time for aviation relative to technology and innovation. More and more, you're starting to hear about this word called eVTOL. And what does eVTOL mean? You may also hear the word advanced air mobility. And so simply it means flying taxis per se. These are specialized helicopters that are now being utilized for commercial use. Right now, we're working with one of our fixed base operators to put in the electrical infrastructure to provide this new commercial service. This new commercial service will come into play last quarter of 2025 is the schedule. And you would be able to take one of these modified helicopters and go from Orange County to downtown LA in 7 to 10 minutes. So it's a game changer for aviation. And I think it'll take some time for folks getting used to taking a helicopter for travel, but it's very exciting. And also right now in the aviation space, we're trying to decide how we utilize artificial intelligence within the aviation space, having a lot of conversations with my other airport directors. Right now, we're looking at it from a data analytics standpoint. how do we gather data relative to our guests, and how do we take that information to better serve them, um, upgrade our parking facilities, add additional amenities. So we have those two. And then also, not too far in the future, autonomous vehicles. I came from Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. They have the first program for autonomous vehicles coming in and out of the airport space. And so, working with my old peers at Phoenix Sky Harbor and really understanding how they're utilizing autonomous vehicles um, to connect to the airport. And that is the future as well. So it's very, very exciting. It's very dynamic. It's very fluid, and it's coming very fast. When I first came to the airport, I was talking to some of our staff saying, hey, we have to get ready for eVTOL. And they were like, oh, Charlene, don't worry about it. That's a conversation 10 years from now. Well, 2 years later, we're embarking on having the first vehicle here at John Wayne in a year and a half. So it's happening at a rapid clip, and very, very excited about how we integrate this into our airport space.
So talk about Star Wars, right? I mean, we're really close to being able to take an autonomous vehicle to the airport, then take an eVTOL from the airport to LA, all automated, all just Star Wars kind of vehicles. And you said the end of 2025, that's right around the corner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for those who are over 50, like myself, watching the Jetsons as a kid and never thinking that those things could come to fruition. Well, we're actually at that point of time. And so as a kid watching that and wondering if those things would ever happen, and to actually see them in action, it's a great and wonderful thing that I'm very, very excited to experience.
So cool. And we have eVTOL manufacturers right here in our greater Irvine community, which is also very cool because these are cutting edge, leading thought leaders really in the industry right here. This isn't something that's far off in the future. This is being built right now, and in some cases right here.
Oh yeah, and so we have those manufacturers here. We have others throughout Southern California. So it's very exciting because this is just the first iteration, and what's next after eVTOL.
Yeah. So cool. And I do remember the Jetsons, but who thought that that was going to be real in our lifetimes? That is so cool. So, in closing, Charlene, what would you like our listeners to know about John Wayne Airport that they might not already be aware of?
So one of the things that we're very, very proud of, and we just implemented, was a aviation academy. What I wanted to do was really connect with our community. So anyone from the community could come in, and we hold these aviation academies twice yearly. It's a 6-week program where you spend two hours with us weekly, and you will have an opportunity to learn A to Z of how an airport works. You'll understand how our financing works, how our technology works. You'll have an opportunity to tour the airport. You will also have an opportunity to tour the airfield. Many folks don't have that opportunity. And we also have some other surprises within that 6-week Air Academy. So I would encourage anyone who has an interest in aviation, has a love of John Wayne Airport, to look for those Aviation Academy courses and to join us. And we're happy to have you here and share all the great things about the airport with you.
So, as someone who falls into that target audience, when is the next opportunity to sign up?
We will have another opportunity within the next 3 months signing up. Currently, we have a course going on. I believe Tuesday is our last night, and then we'll have a fall session. But we will start enrollment soon.
Beautiful. If that's something you'd like help promoting, we can help you with that at the Chamber.
Okay, absolutely.
So, Charlene Reynolds, John Wayne Airport Director, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate it. We appreciate all that you're doing and being so guest-centric at our airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, folks.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Greater Irvine Chamber Business Insights podcast. To stay informed about upcoming podcasts and other important business news, please subscribe to our channel or check the Greater Irvine Chamber website.